Today, we're going to dive into a pretty fascinating worldview called divine fusion. And the core idea? Well, it suggests that the world you see out there isn't separate from you at all, but is actually a direct reflection of what's going on inside you. So let's just start with this one question, because it's really the key to the whole thing. What if reality wasn't happening to you, but through you? Just think about that for a second. This philosophy proposes that everything you experience, every single person, every single event, it's not random. It's actually a kind of metaphorical language, a living mirror that's constantly showing you your own inner state. So let's explore what that really means. To even begin to understand how our reality gets created, we have to go way, way back, right to the very beginning. And according to this philosophy, that beginning wasn't some kind of big bang. No, it was a silent, infinite source, a concept they call the eternal womb. Now, this concept of the eternal womb, it completely flips our idea of nothingness on its head. See, we think of a void as empty, right? But this isn't empty. It's full. It's a dark, fertile silence, just pregnant with all possibility. Kind of like the rich, dark soil before anything has even started to grow. You could think of it as the ultimate source, the cosmic mother that literally dreams our entire reality into being. So how does something actually come from, well, this potential-filled nothing? It's described as a pulse, something that unfolds in four distinct stages. It all starts with that pure, silent potential of the womb. Then, that silence gets a little ripple, a vibration. That's the very first flicker of awareness. That vibration then becomes a sound, and this sound is super important because it carries the blueprint, all the information. And finally, that information crystallizes into the physical forms that we see and touch every single day. But wait a second, you might be thinking, hold on, if everything comes from one single source, why does our world feel so divided, right? Why do we experience things like light and dark or order and chaos? Well, divine fusion explains this through something it calls the dance of duality, this constant interplay between reflection and shadow. Let's start with a classic one, light and dark. This philosophy asks us to see them not as good versus evil, but as partners. Light is revelation. It shows us what's already there. But darkness, that's where all the possibility is held in secret, like that rich soil a plant grows from. You just can't have the flower without the dark earth it came from. One gives form meaning, the other is the very foundation for life itself. And what about angels and demons? Now this is where it gets really interesting. They're not seen as winged beings or horned creatures, but as internal frequencies. Angels are just parts of our consciousness that are in harmony, that are flowing freely. Demons, on the other hand, are simply the parts of our own energy that have gotten stuck, that are resisting the flow because they've forgotten their source. They're the shadow aspects of us, just waiting to be seen and integrated. And finally, let's look at order and chaos. We tend to think of chaos as bad and destructive, but here it's just raw potential. It's the fertile, unformed clay of creation. Order is the pattern, the sacred geometry that gives that clay a beautiful shape. And they are totally dependent on each other. Without the raw material of chaos, order becomes stiff and lifeless. And without the structure of order, chaos just remains an overwhelming, formless void. Okay, so this is all great in theory. Our demons and shadows are just parts of us waiting to be brought back home. Cool. But how do we actually do it? This is where the philosophy gets really practical, outlining a powerful path of integration it calls alchemical remembrance. And the entire process starts with this really radical shift in perspective. Instead of running from fear, you use it. In this philosophy, fear isn't an obstacle, it's a compass. It's pointing you directly to the parts of yourself that are calling out to be healed and made whole. It's showing you exactly where to look. So this alchemy of integration, it really follows four steps. First, you make the choice to descend, to turn inward and actually face the fear. Next, you embrace it. And this is the hard part. You allow yourself to feel the emotion fully without trying to push it away. Then you simply witness it, observing it without judgment until it starts to reveal its hidden message. And finally, you integrate it. You reclaim that lost energy. And in doing so, you literally transform your greatest fears into your greatest strengths. You know, this whole entire process, it really boils down to one profound question we can all ask ourselves. If you were to look at your own inner world, your own shadows, What part of yourself have you yet to truly love? So, what's the result of all this inner work? I mean, what does it actually feel like to live this way? Our final section explores the embodied result, how your entire experience of reality can completely transform. First off, your definition of power just completely changes. It's no longer about controlling other people or your environment. True power becomes an internal state. It's peace under pressure. It's the ability to stay harmonically aligned with your core self, even when the world around you is in total chaos. And this new definition of power leads to a new idea of sovereignty. It's not about ruling over others or being above anyone else. True sovereignty is the simple, powerful state of being completely whole within yourself. And here's where the philosophy gets truly mind bending, especially in how it looks at time. We're taught to see time as a straight line that we're traveling on, but divine fusion suggests that time is actually a living field of consciousness spiraling through us. So, what does it feel like to live in this spiraling conscious field of time? Well, as you become more integrated, time and space become resonant with you. Time itself can feel like it bends and breathes. Your environment starts to mirror your inner peace. And synchronicities, they're no longer these rare coincidences. They actually become your daily language. You just find yourself in the right place at the right moment as if you're being guided by some invisible hand. And that leaves us with this final, powerful question to carry with us. If the world is truly a living mirror, a metaphorical expression of your own inner state, then what is it reflecting back to you right now?